Sure. Yes, same story ko, Bilkul Wahi style. Tone, structure kusath rakti, hue kuch alphas, jumle, or expressions change karka fresh. Thora, different wording main leak didahun. Story ka flow, scenes, emotions dialogues. Sab as is Rahenji, bias alphas badlinch. AAP chine to main EC Zara, or Wild West tone, Zara romantic, Yazara simple be bana saktahun. Phil Hall ya, soft rewritten version high. Rewritten version, changed words, same story meaning. The sun had just begun to sink behind the rugged Arizona cliffs when Luke Carver rode toward his ranch, dust swirling around his horse's steps. For years, he had lived as a solitary cowboy, a widower raising two daughters on land as tough and untamed as he was. Folks in town often whispered that the Carver Ranch carried a curse of silence. No laughter, no warmth, just a man, his girls, and the wind drifting across empty plains. 14-year-old Emma and 12-year-old Rose had learned to accept their father's quiet nature. He wasn't harsh, just worn down. Worn down from losing too many people. Worn from fighting life alone. Worn from a past he never allowed himself to speak of. But that evening, when Luke's horse topped the ridge, something unusual caught his eye. A small fire glowed behind the barn, and beside it sat his daughters with a stranger. Luke's hand instantly dropped to the revolver at his side. Visitors were rare. Visitors who arrived without a word were almost always trouble. He urged his horse forward, jumped off, and strode toward them. "Girls," he called out, his tone sharp. "Who's that with you?" Emma quickly scrambled to her feet. "Pa, wait, she's injured." The stranger lifted her head slowly, and Luke stiffened. She was Apache, young, maybe 20 at most. Her long black hair hung in messy strands, her clothes ripped. A crude bandage wrapped around her upper arm, soaked with dry blood. Rose added softly, "We found her by the creek. She just collapsed. We couldn't leave her there." Luke stepped closer, cautious. Tensions between settlers and Apache bands had been rising lately. The last thing he needed was conflict brought to his doorstep. The young woman met his gaze, her dark eyes steady. "My name is Naya," she murmured. "I will leave when I can stand. I don't seek your fight." Her voice held no begging, just plain, weary honesty. Luke's jaw flexed. "You shouldn't be here. If someone from town sees you." "You always said we help people," Emma cut in. "We're not letting her die out here." Rose folded her arms stubbornly. "Even if she's Apache." Luke felt their words hit him hard. They had their mother's softness, something he'd buried long ago. He exhaled long and slow. "Fine. She stays for the night. Only the night." The girls traded victorious grins. Inside the cabin, Naya sat still while Emma prepared soup and Rose brought blankets. Luke stayed in the corner, arms crossed, studying this stranger who had stepped into their world without warning. "How'd you get hurt?" he finally asked. Naya hesitated. "A group of men ambushed our traveling party. Some of my people escaped. I ran, but a bullet found me." "You were alone?" Luke pressed. She nodded. "If I stayed, I would have led them to the others." There was something fierce and painfully proud behind her words. Emma cleaned the wound while Naya clenched her jaw, refusing to cry out. Rose handed her the soup and whispered, "It's our ma's recipe." For the first time, Naya's expression gentled. "Thank you." The next morning, Luke expected her to be gone. Instead, he found her outside, trying to split firewood with one good arm, her face pale but determined. "You shouldn't be doing that," he said sharply. Naya straightened, stubborn as a mule. "Your daughters helped me. I must return what I owe." "You repay it by healing," he shot back. She held his stare, and for the first time, something unfamiliar twisted inside him. Respect. Curiosity. Something else he wasn't ready to name. Days turned into weeks. Naya's wound healed slowly, not enough for her to travel. The girls grew attached to her. She taught them how to weave grass bands, track animals without sound, and read the meanings in birds' movements. The ranch echoed with laughter again, a sound Luke hadn't heard since his wife passed. Sometimes he caught himself watching Naya as she braided Emma's hair or helped Rose grind herbs. She carried a quiet power, a natural grace. A woman carved from the land itself. One night, after the girls had gone to bed, he found her sitting alone beneath the moonlight. "You'll be leaving soon," he said. "Yes," she whispered. He nodded, but the thought twisted painfully in him. "You've been good to my girls," he murmured. "They remind me of the sisters I once had," she said softly. The silence between them grew heavy. Luke cleared his throat. "If you ever need help, I do not ask easily," she replied with a faint smile. "But I know you would offer." 2 days later, trouble arrived. A group of armed riders thundered toward the ranch, dust rolling behind them. Luke recognized them, the neighboring ranchers, men with a deep hatred for Apache tribes. "We heard you're hiding an Apache woman," the leader snarled. "Bring her out." Luke stepped forward, rifle steady. "A wounded woman came to my land. I tended to her. That's all." "Hand her over," the man hissed. "Apache are nothing but trouble." Before Luke could stop her, Naya stepped out from behind him. "I took nothing, but your men tried to kill my people." The ranchers raised their guns. And in that instant, Luke understood something with absolute clarity. He wasn't giving her up. Not to hate, not to danger, not to the world outside. He cocked his rifle. "This is my ranch. My rules. You're not taking her." The men hesitated. Luke Carver was many things, but weak wasn't one of them. After a tense standoff, the riders finally retreated, cursing as they went. When they were gone, Luke let out a slow, shaky breath. Naya turned to him, eyes glimmering. "You risked much." "So did you," he replied. Emma and Rose rushed to her, hugging her tightly. Luke watched them, and something inside him finally gave way. He wasn't a lone cowboy anymore. Not really. Not anymore. Naya stayed, not because she couldn't leave, but because she'd finally found a place she didn't want to walk away from. And Luke, quiet, weathered, stubborn Luke, understood that life had handed him a second chance, one he meant to keep.